Is Walter White truly a villain, or is he simply a product of his circumstances? You might think of him as the ruthless drug lord who turned to crime to secure his family's future. But what if I told you that beneath the surface, there's a heartbreaking story of innocence waiting to be uncovered? Imagine being a brilliant chemist sidelined by life, forced into a corner by the very society that failed you. The transformation from a mild-mannered teacher to the infamous Heisenberg isn't just a tale of moral decay. It's a complex web of desperation, fear, and societal pressure. As we explore his journey, you'll see how his choices, while often misguided, stem from a place of vulnerability. This video will challenge everything you think you know about Walter White and invite you to reconsider his innocence in a world that often punishes the vulnerable. Walter White's journey into the dark world of drug manufacturing isn't just about a man choosing a life of crime. It's rooted in the overwhelming pressures of society and the toxicity of his relationships. You see, societal expectations weigh heavily on Walter. He's a gifted chemist, but instead of achieving the success he deserves, he finds himself stuck in a dead-end job as a high school teacher, feeling unappreciated and undervalued. This constant struggle against the norms of success creates a gnawing frustration, pushing him to seek validation in the most destructive way possible. Adding to this burden are his relationships, particularly with his family and peers. Walter's interactions often reveal a toxic dynamic where he feels misunderstood and isolated. His wife, Skylar, is caught up in her own struggles, and their communication breaks down, leaving Walter feeling alone in his battle against life's challenges. Even his former colleagues, who once respected him, now regard him with pity or indifference. This alienation only exacerbates his feelings of inadequacy, driving him further into a corner. Then comes the terminal cancer diagnosis, a moment that serves as a catalyst for his transformation. Faced with the grim reality of his mortality, Walter's desperation intensifies. He believes he has no choice but to take control of his life through illegal means, all under the misguided notion that he's doing it for his family. This pivotal moment shifts the narrative from one of mere criminality to a tragic tale of a man pushed to the brink by circumstances beyond his control. Walter's choices, while morally questionable, are intertwined with his innocence, as he grapples with the harsh realities that life has dealt him. To truly understand Walter White's journey, we must delve into his backstory and the pivotal moments that shaped his decisions. By examining his life before cancer, we can see a man filled with potential yet stifled by mediocrity, a brilliant chemist relegated to teaching high school. You might find yourself empathizing with his plight as he struggles to provide for a family that he feels is slipping away from him. This exploration reveals that Walter's descent into the drug world isn't just about the money. It's about reclaiming agency in a life that has left him feeling powerless. As we analyze key events, such as his interactions with former colleagues and his deteriorating relationships with family, you'll begin to see how societal pressures and personal failures intertwine. Walter's motivations become clearer, and his path, though fraught with moral ambiguity, is marked by a sincere desire to protect his loved ones. By unpacking these layers, we can uncover the innocence beneath the Heisenberg persona. This fresh perspective will not only challenge your preconceived notions, but will also encourage a deeper conversation about the complexities of morality and the human experience. Are you ready to see Walter White in a new light? Walter White's journey begins in a place many can relate to, a life filled with unfulfilled potential. Imagine being a brilliant chemist, yet feeling like a ghost in your own life. Walter's early days at Gray Matter Technologies serve as a poignant flashback that highlights his brilliance overshadowed by a lack of respect in his career. He was once part of a promising venture with his friends, showcasing innovative ideas that could have changed the industry. Yet, when his partners decide to cut him out, it's not just a financial loss. It's a deep personal betrayal. You can almost feel the weight of disappointment resting on his shoulders as he watches others reap the rewards of the very ideas he helped create. This moment encapsulates a turning point in Walter's life, igniting feelings of inadequacy and resentment that will haunt him throughout his journey. As you reflect on Walter's early life, it's evident that his circumstances shape his identity. He is not just a man with a terminal illness. He is a man who has felt the sting of rejection and the pain of mediocrity. The isolation he experiences in his dead-end teaching job compounds his feelings of worthlessness. Here's a man who once had dreams of greatness, yet finds himself trapped in a life that seems to dismiss him. This sense of betrayal isn't just about losing his business. It's about losing his sense of self. It's easy to see how these feelings fester, pushing him toward a path of desperation. In a society that often equates success with worth, Walter's perceived failures fuel a fire within him. He begins to believe that the only way to regain control over his life and provide for his family is through the very means that society deems unacceptable. His descent into the drug trade isn't an impulsive act of villainy. It's a misguided attempt to reclaim his agency after years of feeling overlooked. This context is crucial in understanding Walter's motivations. By unpacking his humble beginnings and the emotional turmoil that accompanies them, we start to uncover the innocence that lies beneath the Heisenberg persona. You might find yourself questioning, is he truly guilty of villainy? Or is he simply a product of circumstances that no one should have to endure? The catalyst for Walter White's transformation is his terminal cancer diagnosis, a moment that drastically alters the trajectory of his life. Imagine receiving news that turns your world upside down. That's exactly what happens to Walter. His emotional breakdown following the diagnosis is a powerful scene that resonates with anyone who has faced despair. It's not just about the cancer. It's about the weight of his unfulfilled dreams and the burden of being a provider for his family. Faced with the reality of his mortality, Walter begins to reevaluate everything he thought he knew about life, purpose, and his own identity. In that moment of vulnerability, he feels helpless, a stark contrast to the control he once had over his life. This helplessness pushes him to seek out ways to regain some semblance of power. For Walter, turning to illegal activities becomes a desperate attempt to provide for his family, not just financially, but to leave a legacy that he feels he has failed to establish through his teaching career. The irony is that, in seeking to do good for his family, he unwittingly plunges them into a world of danger and deceit. This contradiction forms the crux of his innocence. The actions he takes, while illegal, stem from a place of love and desperation rather than malice. You might be thinking, how does one reconcile that? How can a man who becomes a drug lord still retain a sense of innocence? Walter's choices, though misguided, are made in the belief that he is doing what is necessary to secure his family's future. The moral ambiguity of his situation forces you to confront the question of whether his circumstances have dictated his actions more than his inherent nature. As he immerses himself in the drug trade, you see a man caught in a web of societal expectations, personal failures, and the instinctual need to protect his loved ones. Ultimately, Walter White's initial descent into crime is not simply a transformation into a villain, but rather a reflection of a man grappling with the fragility of life and the desperate need to assert control in an uncontrollable world. In understanding this pivotal moment, you start to peel away the layers of the Heisenberg persona, revealing a deeply flawed yet fundamentally human individual striving for redemption in the face of insurmountable odds. The transformation of Walter White from a humble high school chemistry teacher to the ruthless kingpin known as Heisenberg is often viewed through the lens of villainy. However, if you take a closer look, you'll see that each choice he makes is a response to his circumstances rather than a reflection of inherent evil. His journey is deeply intertwined with the love he has for his family, and this motivation is crucial to understanding the innocence that lies beneath his actions. When Walter makes the fateful decision to cook meth, he is not merely seeking power or wealth. He is desperately trying to secure his family's future after his terminal cancer diagnosis. In that moment, he believes he is taking control of an uncontrollable situation, and it's this misguided sense of agency that drives him further down a dark path. As you delve into Walter's psyche, you begin to appreciate how the pressures of his life shape his decisions. He has spent years feeling undervalued and overlooked, a feeling that only intensifies when he learns about his cancer. In the face of mortality, many of us might react with desperation, and Walter is no different. Each step he takes into the drug world is not just about the thrill of power. It's a method of reclaiming some semblance of control over his life and the legacy he leaves behind. You can see this when he first partners with Jesse Pinkman. It's a chaotic alliance born from a mutual need, and Walter's initial intentions are rooted in a desire to provide for his family, not to betray them. Even as he begins to embrace the Heisenberg persona, the core motivation remains the same: love for his family. This complicates the narrative of his transformation. He isn't just a cold-hearted criminal. He's a man ensnared by circumstances, using the only means he believes he has left to ensure his family's survival. The love that drives him is a double-edged sword, leading to both noble intentions and devastating consequences. This complexity is what makes Walter White such an intriguing character. It forces you to reconsider what innocence truly means in the context of his choices. Is he a villain, or is he simply a flawed man trying to navigate an unforgiving world? The answer may reveal more about human nature than about Walter himself, and that's where the true depth of his story lies. As Walter White's empire grows, you can see a critical shift in his moral compass. Initially, he ventures into the drug trade with the intention of securing his family's future, but as he gains power and influence, the motivations behind his choices become increasingly murky. This evolution complicates your perception of him, making you question whether he is still the innocent man he once was or if he has fully embraced the darkness of his new identity. The transformation from Walter to Heisenberg is not a sudden leap. It's a gradual descent into a world where every decision carries weight and consequence. Take, for example, his confrontation with Gus Fring. In this high-stakes showdown, Walter is pushed to the brink and forced to make choices that reveal the lengths he is willing to go to protect what he has built. This moment is pivotal because it showcases the blurring of the lines between right and wrong. You might find yourself empathizing with Walter in his fight against Gus, understanding that he feels cornered and desperate. Yet, at the same time, you can't ignore the ruthless tactics he employs, which starkly contradict the noble intentions he once held. It's a classic case of the ends justifying the means, and it raises the question of whether Walter's innocence is slipping away with each calculated move he makes. This moral ambiguity is what captivates audiences and forces you to reevaluate your stance on his character. As you watch Walter navigate this treacherous landscape, you realize that his choices are not just about survival. They are also a reflection of how power can corrupt even the most well-intentioned individuals. The more he delves into the drug world, the more you can see his humanity eroding, replaced by a calculated ruthlessness that is hard to reconcile with the man who started this journey. In the end, Walter's story is a poignant reminder of how easily innocence can be lost amidst the chaos of life's choices. You can't help but wonder, does the love that once motivated him still exist, or has it been overshadowed by the thirst for power? The complexity of his character challenges you to consider the true nature of innocence and whether it can survive in a world that often demands compromise and moral sacrifice. In the end, Walter White's story serves as a poignant reminder of how easily innocence can be lost amidst the chaos of life's choices. Throughout his journey, we've seen a man who started with noble intentions, driven by love for his family, transform into a figure consumed by ambition and the corrupting allure of power. This metamorphosis raises compelling questions about the very nature of innocence. Can it truly withstand the trials of desperation and moral compromise, or does the world inevitably erode it, leaving only a shadow of the person we once knew? As you reflect on Walter's evolution, it's essential to consider how societal pressures and personal struggles shape our decisions. His plight resonates with many who feel trapped by their circumstances, and this complexity invites you to empathize with his character rather than simply label him as a villain. After all, isn't it easier to understand someone when you see the human experience behind their choices? So, what do you think? Did Walter White lose his way, or was he always a product of his environment? We'd love to hear your thoughts and interpretations in the comments below. If you found this exploration of Walter White's innocence compelling, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe for more in-depth analyses of your favorite characters and their moral dilemmas. Your engagement helps us foster a community of thoughtful discussion, so don't hesitate to share this video with friends who love Breaking Bad as much as you do. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and remember, the line between